The year is 1950. Los Alamos, New Mexico. The men sitting around that cafeteria table aren't ordinary. They are the architects of the atomic age. Enrico Fermi, Nobel laureate, one of the greatest physicists of the 20th century, is eating lunch with colleagues. The conversation is light, flying saucers, newspaper headlines, tabloid speculation. Then, mid-sentence, Fermi pauses. He sets down his fork and asks, quietly, almost to himself, "Where is everybody?" The table falls silent, because everyone understood the weight behind those three small words. In a universe of incomprehensible scale, with trillions of potential worlds and billions of years of cosmic history, Fermi had just identified the most profound contradiction in all of science. Not with equations, just with a question. To understand why Fermi's question is so powerful, you first need to feel the scale of the universe, not just intellectually but viscerally. There are an estimated 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe alone. Our own Milky Way contains roughly 300 billion stars. Astronomers, using the Kepler Space Telescope and its successors, have confirmed that planets are extraordinarily common. Most stars host them. Billions of those planets fall within the habitable zone, the orbital band where liquid water, the universal solvent of biology, can exist on a surface. Run the numbers through the Drake equation, even conservatively, and you arrive at a staggering probability. Intelligent, communicating civilizations should number in the thousands, tens of thousands, perhaps millions across our galaxy alone. The universe, by every mathematical measure we can construct, should be crowded. Since 1960, when Frank Drake pointed a radio telescope at the star Tau Ceti and listened, really listened, for the first time in human history, we have been searching. Project Ozma became SETI. SETI became a global network of telescopes, algorithms, and tens of thousands of volunteer computers scanning the electromagnetic spectrum for anything artificial. We've analyzed millions of star systems. We've searched for radio signals, laser pulses, and anomalous infrared signatures. The Breakthrough Listen initiative deployed the most sensitive equipment in history across the sky. And the result, after over 6 decades, enormous resources, and extraordinary patience, is complete and total silence. Not even a probable candidate. Not a statistical outlier worth calling a signal. The cosmos, for all its mathematical promise of life, has returned nothing but static. That silence is the Fermi Paradox, in its rawest form. Before accepting the silence as absolute, scientists have proposed dozens of creative hypotheses. The zoo hypothesis suggests advanced civilizations deliberately avoid contact, watching us like researchers observing a nature preserve, non-interference as cosmic protocol. The dark forest theory, popularized by author Liu Cixin, proposes that the universe is a silent battlefield where civilizations hide because announcing your presence invites extermination. The planetarium hypothesis speculates we're inside a sophisticated simulation, and the silence is coded in. Others argue we're simply looking wrong, that advanced civilizations have moved beyond radio waves to quantum communication or technologies we haven't yet conceived. Perhaps we're like a tribe listening for drum signals from a civilization that now uses fiber optics. The absence of evidence, as these hypotheses remind us, is not necessarily evidence of absence. But it remains deeply uncomfortable. In 1998, economist Robin Hanson formalized what is arguably the most chilling idea in modern science, the Great Filter. The theory holds that somewhere along the path from chemistry to interstellar civilization, there exists an evolutionary bottleneck so lethal that virtually no species crosses it. It is the explanation for the silence, not that life doesn't arise, but that something kills the potential for spacefaring intelligence before it matures. The terrifying question isn't whether the filter exists, the silence strongly implies it does, but where it sits on the timeline. Is it a past hurdle, something we've already cleared? Or is it a future barrier, waiting for every civilization that reaches our current stage of technological adolescence? The answer to that question may be the most consequential piece of information in human history. If the Great Filter is behind us, then we are, and I use this term scientifically, a miracle. The transition from non-living chemistry to self-replicating molecules, what biologists call abiogenesis, may be a 1 in a trillion event in the universe's history. The emergence of the eukaryotic cell, the complex, nucleus-containing cell that enabled all complex life, happened once in roughly 1 billion years of bacterial evolution on Earth. The evolution of consciousness, of self-awareness, of abstract reasoning. Each step may represent a statistical improbability so extreme that it simply doesn't repeat elsewhere. Under this interpretation, the silence makes perfect sense. Not because intelligence is suppressed, but because the path to intelligence is so astronomically narrow that Earth threaded the cosmic needle. We are alone not because the universe failed us, but because it gifted us with luck so extraordinary it will never be repeated. But if the great filter lies ahead, we must confront an implication so dark it reshapes every conversation about civilization's future. It would mean that across the galaxy, intelligent species regularly reach our level: agriculture, industry, science, nuclear power, digital computing, and then, reliably, extinguish themselves. Not occasionally, not rarely, but as a statistical near certainty. What kills them? The candidates are the headlines of our own era: nuclear arsenals on hair-trigger alert, accelerating climate destabilization, engineered pandemics, the existential risk of misaligned artificial general intelligence, resource collapse, or perhaps the simple inability of a tribal primate brain to govern the godlike tools its intellect creates. The silence of the cosmos, under this interpretation, isn't just eerie, it is a graveyard. And we may be standing in it, not yet realizing that the shovel is in our own hands. And so we return to Fermi's question: where is everybody? With new eyes. Perhaps the most intellectually honest answer is this: we do not yet know. But the asking of the question transforms how we must live. If we are rare, among the first or the only conscious minds capable of comprehending the universe, then Earth is not merely our home. It is the universe's only mirror, the only place in 100 million light years where the cosmos looks back at itself and wonders. That imposes a responsibility that transcends politics, borders, and generations. Every choice about nuclear weapons, climate, biotechnology, and artificial intelligence carries cosmic weight. The Fermi Paradox does not merely ask where alien civilizations are. It asks, with quiet urgency, whether we will join the silence or become the signal the universe has been waiting for.